Welcome back, you're watching Storyboard. Royal Enfield is set to complete 120 years of its legacy in the coming new year. I caught up with Shubhranshu Singh, Global Head Marketing at Royal Enfield, and spoke to him about the impact of COVID-19 on the demand for luxury bikes, how has their communication evolved with the changing consumer needs, and how does Royal Enfield build a case for itself, being an adventure and exploratory brand at a time when other brands are clearly talking about staying home and staying safe. Let's take a look at this conversation. Hi Shubhranshu, welcome to CNBC TV 18. Many thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Let's talk about the motorcycle market first. The industry saw a heavy dip in Q1 and Q2 before seeing a recovery in Q3, and now finally in Q4 we are seeing a double-digit growth. If you look at the competitive arena, the Japanese automakers have ceded their share to the Indian makers, and that could be primarily attributed to the fact that the rural markets have been more resilient during the pandemic than the urban markets. Now, Royal Enfield is mainly an urban play. It's a big ticket purchase. It's an aspirational brand, and most of your company's growth comes from the urban markets. So at a time like this, what is the demand for Royal Enfield?
So Ankita, you asked many questions in one, so let me try and address them one by one. First of all, my perspective is that of a marketer, and you are right that the world faced a disruption which was not anticipated at all, and things literally came to a grinding halt. Everybody was off the road and in a lockdown. So naturally, April and one part of May, things went to zero. But subsequently, we have seen a stronger than ever performance, both in terms of engagement, in terms of community interest, and in terms of actual inquiries and bookings. And we saw that right from the second half of May as the unlock began to get into effect. Now, so far as the competitive segments are concerned, that our purpose and the vision that Siddharth has had right from the beginning, Mr. Siddharth Lal has had right from the beginning, is to create, a pure motorcycling culture right in the mid segment, and that's where we are. And we have had a surge in interest, bookings, and one part of it, of course, is also to do with pent-up demand. But the sustained interest that we have had, and most recently with the launch of the Meteor, has been very, very enthusing for us, and it's really boosted our confidence. The second part of your question, which is where the interest was really in terms of the pop strata, it is true. And we saw that as lead indicators from search and elsewhere as well, including things like website visitation. First of all, in our competitive category, we were really thrilled to see that we came back to normalcy much faster. So if you index total interest to 100, say amongst searchers, we were able to reach that number much before the rest of our peer group. But irrespective, we also took great interest in the fact that tier 2 and tier 3 geographies seem to come back in terms of interest online and subsequently offline than, let's say, the metros.
Right. So, Shubhranshu, what have been the challenges for Royal Enfield, and how have you managed to engage with the community during the lockdown? And, what have been the consumer insights, and how has your communication and your marketing strategy changed with the changing consumer needs? What exactly is the consumer looking for now?
Yes. Again, a very pertinent question, Ankita. The first thing we did, we realized that there will be a period of disruption. Things were uncertain. Naturally, nobody could predict the timelines involved. So we said the first interest for us was to stay true to our core purpose, which is to be an ally for the community in exploration. We are a pure motorcycling business and brand, not a motorcycle brand alone. So we said, even though there is a period of a lockdown and a lull, let us engage with the community in a manner where we can share memories, share subject and topical interest, stay engaged with them. So the first behavior change we saw was a great interest in being digitally engaged with the things that concern you or that you're passionate about. So in this period, just to give you a rough sense, we've had a 3x increase in terms of video content perusal on something like a YouTube. So there has been a tremendous stickiness online. And we did a succession of programs. We did campaigns like My Trip Story. We did campaigns including, GoPro promotions for content capture. We did things with customs live broadcasting, where we were bringing episodes of content from the top custom builders across the world. We did a design contest which got more than 10,000 participation. 60% of them were non-owners, by the way, and the bulk of them were tier 2, tier 3, where they send illustrations of what Royal Enfield, the brand, and our motorcycles mean to them. In any case, even pre-COVID, 60 to 70% of the content that we used on our website or on our social handles, and we have a community which is 77 lakh strong across Facebook, Instagram, etc. In of that 75 plus lakh people, almost 70% of the content was user generated content. So we had a very highly engaged community. And what has happened in this period is that interest has spiked. People were living their lives much more digitally. And we were anyways on that course. We were wanting to be a digitally accessible brand. We had more than 2,200 of our locations discoverable. Our entire dealer network was actively on social media and digital presence.
Right. You spoke about how you saw a spike in digital and how 70% of your content is user generated. Now, your communications branch is more adventure, more exploration based. How do you keep yourself relevant or keep your share of search, share of voice high? Clearly, when there are other brands that are talking about safety, hygiene, and staying at home.
Correct. And that's again, you've done your homework very well, I must say, Ankita. And that was naturally a concern for all players. For us, as you correctly pointed out, we are a very much an exploration brand. We are a brand that is building a culture, and that lifestyle is about being outdoors. So naturally, it was an inverse situation for us. Uh, but I want to emphasize that a large part of the journey from an intender to a buyer also happens online. This is an incredibly young country. 40 crore Indians are less than 20 years of age. The digital lifestyle is all pervasive. Everywhere we see people engaging with brands, interests, affinities online. Now, the one significant part of it, which doesn't have much to do with content, was also about how we will present the options, the customer journey to these intenders. And as you would know, in the last 6 months, we have had significant movement forward. So the first thing we did was to launch the RE app. The RE app allows people to do configuration and personalization through a configurator called Make It Yours. It allows them to do service and online service bookings. It has an online rides module, which naturally could not be active because of this period. So the community surged. The RE app adoptions have gone from zero to in October to about 4 lakh today. And we've seen a very steady climb in terms of engagement.
All right, Subhranshu, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much, Ankita.
And on this week's notice board, we have shortlisted a few Christmas campaigns from around the world that brought a smile to our faces. First up is a tearjerker by the Dutch pharmaceutical company Doc Morris that tells a story of an old grandfather and a former athlete who reacquaints himself with his training in a bid to lift his granddaughter for Christmas. Let's take a look. Inspired by the response of the British public to the pandemic during the first wave and the acts of kindness that emerged from communities, for this year's campaign, John Lewis and Waitrose have come up with the pandemic theme of kindness and giving to the charity rather than giving presents this Christmas. Let's take a look at this beautiful campaign.
If I give
With that, it's a wrap on Storyboard for this week. You can catch all of our content on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. You stay tuned, keep watching Storyboard, and here's wishing all the viewers a Merry Christmas. See you soon.